Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. We are here. It is Greg and Neil. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of time for everybody's notifications and things like that to pop up. Every Monday night at 7, we're going to be doing a live stream unless our schedule gets totally weird, at which point we would put out a notice as to when we're actually going to do it that week. But Mondays at 7 is a good time for us. So we'll be doing one on Monday. And then on the YouTube channel, which if you're not subscribed, if you're watching from Facebook or LinkedIn, just go to YouTube, type in Matterhorn Business Development. You'll see our logo and our channel. You can subscribe to us there because we actually do 2 videos a week plus the live stream. So we have new content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So be sure you check all that stuff out. It's all about business, having fun at work, which is the title of Dr. Winteregg's book. So be sure that you stay tuned for everything that we're going to be doing. The live streams are just a way for us to be able to not be inhibited by the film schedule, or it just allows us to be more candid and relaxed, and we get to talk about stuff longer and in more detail and all that kind of stuff. So we're doing the live streams on Mondays now. Eventually we'll have a full podcast format where you can actually download it. So if you are watching this on a delay on one of these platforms, watch to the end at some point, while you're driving in your car or doing paperwork or whatever. What tends to happen when we do these live streams is we start talking about stuff, and then right around the last 10 minutes, we really have a breakthrough and all the good stuff comes out.
Or we get a comment.
Yep. And
also, people to comment.
Yep. The more comments that you guys have, then the more stuff we get to talk about as well. So that's also really good. So Monday, 7 o'clock, welcome to the live. This week, we are talking about Profit First. And Profit First is a book written by a smart guy out of New Jersey, I believe, or at least that's where he lives right now, Mike Michalowicz. Yep. So he came up with this whole system of financing and organizing your finances to actually make money as a business owner. And Greg is a Profit First professional. And my sister Abby is the other Profit First professional here at Matterhorn. So we have 2 Profit First professionals. Certified professionals. So why don't you just go into what is a certified Profit First professional? Like, what did you do to get that status and to be able to call yourself that? And then we'll go into what Profit First is and how it works.
So the author is a really, really awesome guy. Abby and I have been to his house. We've worked with him on a couple of personal projects. And basically, he wrote the book. The number of books sold now is over 500,000. And he just wasn't seeing enough people be able to apply it. So he came up with this program to train and certify people to be able to take on clients and guide them through the process, because it's not always a simple process in some businesses. So the training was actually quite extensive that Abby and I went through. We had a live presentation. We actually attended 2 separate live presentations, flew to New Jersey from Florida a couple different times. We had to have 3 beta clients. We had to show our trainer we could actually get the result with those clients. And as we were going through that process, it was really interesting. The beta clients actually started just doing fantastically better. And we were already working with them on expanding their businesses with the Matterhorn Business Development expansion process. But the key is that the businesses continue to expand, and they were ending up with more money. Because when we started the company, we were just looking at expanding and helping the clients end up with more money. But with our first client, in the first year, actually in the first 8 months, they grew from 640,000 to 860,000. So that's about 33% growth. But at the end of that year, like, hey, we grew by 33% last year. And the owner says, I don't have any extra money. And that was really an eye-opening experience, because we're kind of like, we're just month to month here. And like, this guy
And
could
it's not like
actually,
you to grow 33%, you doubled their expenses or their
yeah,
staffing, or it's not like we did something where we got them into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to grow. But
right.
here they are making
We didn't recommend that they spend 20,000 a month on marketing.
right, but here they are at the end of this growth and they're like, "Oh, I don't have any money."
So it was actually that client that motivated us for this. And I had a friend say, you got to read this book. I read the book. We got certified. That client was one of our beta clients. And at the end of that year, they went from 860 to 1.2 million. And there was $60,000 sitting around at the end of the year.
They didn't know what to do with it.
Where did it come from? And like, where did it go the previous year? Nobody knew. So we just finished the third year with this client. They went from 1.2 to 1.4 during COVID, which was a bit of a challenge, but took 3 different profit distributions throughout the year. At the end of the year, had, I think it was 50,000 in the profit account, and I think another 30 or 40,000 in the tax account, which is not going to need that much. And so the point here is in the profit first system, it's all about controlling the distribution and the allocation of the funds. And so it's about clamping down and really watching where the money is going, because every business is going to try and spend as much, if not more, than it makes. And so, that $4,000 computer, or that $5,000 software program, or that $10,000 conference table,
that $3,000 lease payment every month for some new equipment that you didn't necessarily have to have.
exactly. And so what's really interesting, and we found this out as we were going through the training, is Mike Michalowicz actually started his certifying process out of the basement of his house. He had 5 staff at one point. I think it was 5, might have only been 3. They were working out of his house before he was willing to actually take on a lease payment and rent for the office. So he practices what he preaches. And I guess just to get the concept across, what does it mean when you say profit first? So the typical generally accepted accounting method, you take a look at a profit and loss. So here's your income, then you have your expenses. So those are minused out. And what's left down here is gross profit. So the profit is what's left over. And what Mike was finding is most businesses he was working with, they were spending all the money on expenses and there wasn't any profit left over. So all he did is just very simply flip the formula. So here's your revenue. Now you take out your profit and you run the company with what is left. And so the percentages are in the book based on the revenue range, the annual revenue in of the business. So there's certain percentages that you should be operating off of if you make 250,000 or less a year. Then there's other percentages like 5% profit, 50% in pay, 15% for the tax man, set that over aside into an account, and you run the company with 30%. And so if you can't afford rent, then you don't rent a space and you run it off your kitchen table or whatever. So,
and then also I should say, like, if there's a business that's operating right now and you're trying to make more money, there's actually a spreadsheet and a formula of how to start paying yourself first. It's not like next month you just don't pay rent, or
right, exactly.
because people probably just had a heart attack when they heard that, like, what, I can't have rent? No,
right.
There's a formula of how in the next quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, and so on, you start manipulating your current percentages to get to the point to where you're fully paying yourself first, or whatever. You're handling all your backlogs.
Yeah, and you do this on a gradient, like Neil is saying. And in actuality, it might take you 12 to 24 months to hit the optimum percentages that are laid out in the book. And so as certified profit first professionals, we have access to all of the spreadsheets and all the calculations. And so we strategize with our clients the percentages and how they're going to do it. So now I want to break down this profit part of this that comes out.
Yeah.
So Profit is broken down into three different accounts. So first of all, you made $10,000 and you want to put 5% into profit. Okay, so 5%, $10,000, $500. So you move that into a separate account labeled profit. Then there's owner's pay. And in the 250,000 or less range, Mike is saying 50% should be going to the owner. So that would be $5,000 of the 10. And then 15% for taxes, because you have quarterly taxes, etc. This is not the payroll tax. This is personal tax. So now 1,500 of the 10,000 should be going into the tax account, a separate account labeled tax. And then that leaves $3,000 to run the company. Now, for most companies, the percentages are way off. There's zero being set aside for profit. There's maybe 30 or 35% being set aside for the owners. There's 0% being set aside for tax. And then 65 or 70% is going towards overhead. So the percentages are way off. So what Neil is talking about is we have the spreadsheets and the calculation is done. So in the first quarter, we're going to put 1% into profit, not 10 or 5. And in the first quarter, we put 1% into tax. And we're just going to start to siphon away from the expense account little microscopic dollars that are barely even noticed, but it's going to start to create a pattern. So in the profit first system, you're actually taking profit, owner's pay, and tax, and putting it into separate accounts every week, at least twice a month. And you're making these allocations. And then you have to take a look and you have to run the company with what is left. And again, we're not going to do this and bankrupt the company by taking money and shuttling it elsewhere so you miss payroll and all of that. But the discipline starts. And what we're finding is when we take this cash flow management system, we set up the different accounts, the allocations are done, and we're stepping on the gas and expanding the business rapidly with, our smallest client last year, the smallest growth we had was 18%. And that still represented over $150,000 in growth. So we've got clients that doubled, that tripled, etc. But here's the key. They ended up with money to pay taxes. They ended up with profit. They're paying down their debt because there's a whole debt management part of this program. Also, quarterly taxes are paid, staff are paid. And so it's not stressful. And you can take your phone, check your account balances, and you're looking at where this money is squirreled away and what it's designated for. And you can start to sleep at night because you know that there's money there to pay the bills.
Yeah, because, and like you mentioned, for anybody who's just tuning in, is as business coaches and mentors and consultants, the hardest part is when you have somebody double, triple their business and then they still haven't paid their taxes and they still are behind on their credit cards. And you're like, what are you doing with this money? Like, oh, well, I just give it to my accountant, and your accountant's not your financial advisor, and your accountant is just documenting what you did. They're not doing anything with the money. So this is a process that we found so that we could actually grow a business and then have somebody go, and I made more money, because, they would usually waste their money on ridiculous things or whatever, So
yes,
profit first is just like how you do that. Now, when you team that up with, and what I like about profit first, I'm not the certified profit first professional. I'm not the money guy. I'm the sales guy. I make the money and let other people spend it. My point is if you take if you get a profit first assessment and it tells you, okay, this is the state of your finances and this is where you will be in 18 months if you follow these formulas. And it will say, okay, in 18 months, I'm going to be making this much money. Well, what we do is we take those percentages, then we double the business. And instead of taking 18 months to get there, people are getting there in 3 months, 6 months, because not only are they now handling their money, but they have more money to handle all the backlogs and all the other stuff. So that's why we are really having a lot of success with helping clients with profit first.
Absolutely. And that's a critical point, because all the calculations in the system are based on the annual revenue of the business staying the same. And for us, that's completely unacceptable. So with our business mentoring and strategy and planning sessions, our clients are growing. And that's why we're able to take targets that in the Profit First system would have taken 12 or 18 or 24 months to knock out. And we literally are hitting them in 3 to 6 months, maybe 9 at the outside. But the key here is it's about controlling money. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing is that, and I saw this with a couple of clients. So when you have your revenue and the business is spending the money and there's not much left over for the owner, you want to go on vacation, you alter your vacation. Maybe you live in the Tampa area and you wanted to go to Disney World and you were going to stay at the Grand Floridian and you were going to do, 4 days in the park with the 4-day pass for the whole family. And you added this all up and it was going to be like food and everything, $12,000. And you're like, I don't have $12,000. I got $1,200. So some people, okay, you can go do that vacation, throw it all in the cards and rack them all up and have a nice vacation. But what most people do is like, okay, honey, we can't go to Disney World this year. We're going to have to do that next year. We have $1,200. We're going to Busch Gardens for a day. We're going to pack our lunch. And so you alter your lifestyle, you alter your expenses on the car you buy, whether you remodel the kitchen or not, based on the profit that comes out of the company. So what I realized here is what this actually does is it flips the script now, and it makes the company now pay the owner first, set aside for the taxes, have a profit account. And guess what? You have to be creative in the office. You have to be creative in the business as to how you are going to get the most out of those dollars so that you can't afford the $10,000 website. All right, good. So we're going to get the $2,500 website or the $1,000 website, or we're not going to buy that software this quarter. We're going to have to wait until, and so it promotes ingenuity and efficiency in the business when there's only this much left.
Yep.
So, I had staff who we had 5 treatment rooms, and they're like, hey, we could really, because we had some used equipment in room number 5 to see emergencies. Like, whoa, it would really be great if we put some new equipment in there. And it was going to be $30,000. And I'm like, no, because that money's coming straight out of my pocket. And I don't see how I'm going to get a return on that $30,000. And so if that money is there and it's not squirreled away with a designated label on it, and this is what it's for, and you're not allowed to rob that account to do something else with it, then all of a sudden it sparks creativity and it sparks ingenuity within the staff of the business. And just say, we need a new truck. All right. So we could go out and buy a brand new Silverado for $45,000, or we can get the used Silverado for $9,000. So we're going to get the used Silverado for $9,000. And yes, I might have to replace the brakes and it might need an oil change a little bit more often, but that's all we can have right now because that's all that's in the account.
Yep. And it's not saying you can't have nice stuff.
Not at all.
It's just giving you a path of how to make sure that you're secure and you're stable. Because I think the pandemic is a great example of all this stuff. Yep. January, February of last year, a lot of people probably blew a lot of money on their businesses for 2020, right, for all their growth that they were going to do and everything that they were going to happen. And then 6 months into the year, they're closed. Yep. And now they've got these loan payments. Now they've got these things. Well, with Profit First, you have percentages automatically set aside to cover the expenses and costs of things. So it's not going to let you get into something that you can't afford in the long run.
And that's a really, really good point. So another key part of the system is building in parachutes, reserve accounts, emergency funds. We can even set up a payroll account. Just anything that you really need to focus on getting under control. And the first thing, we've had accountants give our clients a hard time about, you don't need all of these accounts. It can just be done on a spreadsheet. but I'm telling you, it doesn't work that way.
If there's money in the bank account, you're going to spend it.
It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. And so
I think the best example, I think the best example is what you mentioned to me earlier, and we don't have to talk about, what industry they're in or whatever, but we have a client who in July made a good chunk of change, had a very good month. And you said, what would he normally have done with that money when you?
Well, he's like, man, this is time to buy a boat. Right. Time to get that country club membership. And I mean, he made as much in a month as many folks make in a year. And so it was a really good month. A marketing campaign that we had put together really, really came off. And then, but the whole system had been established 6 months earlier. And so this is the owner's pay. This is the tax account. This is the profit account. All this money goes here, there, and everywhere. And here's the other thing that I want to be clear. There's an income account for the business. And every week that account is drained, or twice a month that account is drained. And even though the money is sitting over here in a profit account, extra owner's pay account, tax account, I can tell you the effect that it creates on me as I look at the income account, like that account needs to get some money in it. I got bills to pay. And so what happens is when that money is sitting over an account with a name on it, in my mind, it's spent, it's gone. And this one particular client had all of this money sitting aside. And then basically because of COVID, that particular industry took a dip. And he told us on the next call, he's like, guys, that money would have been gone. And thank you so much for helping me get all of these accounts set up, for helping me get the discipline in to just not raid the accounts. And basically said it saved his bacon. And so, figured it out, did another marketing campaign, got things to rebound. But he admitted that money would have been gone. He actually named several ways it could have disappeared, and it wouldn't have been anything that was going to help his family during a downturn, during something like COVID.
Yeah, so that's the point of Profit First is you have that structure there to save you in a time when the next month is not so good as the last month. You're not playing catch up. Now, we did get a comment through YouTube. Somebody says, I'm having trouble implementing Profit First into my product-based business.
Right.
So if you're still on, the person who wrote that, you can put a little bit more details in there. We can try and answer some of your questions right now. Otherwise, I would say get in touch with us through our website, and we can do a one-on-one consultation and help you with it. I don't know exactly what it is, but she says, Dad, or this person, having trouble implementing Profit First into my product-based business.
Okay, so this is a really great question, because there are service-based businesses, like we have some chiropractors, an attorney. So those are service-based. A dental office is service-based. But then there's also, we have a contractor, which takes subs of materials, painter, roofer, whatever it might be.
Landscaper.
There's
a lot of costs up front to jobs, things like that.
Yep. And so in Profit First, and you might, I'm not sure about your industry, et cetera, but there's also a version of Profit First called Profit First for Contractors, which was written by a contractor. His name escapes me. I've met the author of Profit First for Contractors. What you have to do is you have your income, and then you have to remove the cost of making the product and the cost of the subcontractors to deliver the product. Then you have what Mike Michalowicz calls your real revenue, and all the percentages are figured after you set aside the money for subcontractors and materials. So then the 5% or the 10% to profit kicks in, the owners pay the 15% to tax and all of that. So I don't know if that quick answer helps. I will tell you, we explain this on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search for Matterhorn Business Development and subscribe.
We have a Profit First playlist in
the
playlist section.
And I think we've got 8 or 10 different videos that Abby and I have made in there, and we get into more detail. So by all means, you have a candle business.
Yeah, it's
the cost of goods sold. Exactly.
yeah.
So what you have to do is, if you know that cost of goods, so then you had, I don't know, you had a $5,000 deposit, and you know that you need to have $1,000 to buy new supplies. So you have a supply account. So in your income account is 5,000. Then you have a supply account. So you put 1,000 over into the supply account. Now you have 4,000 left to work with, and you run your profit first percentages on the 4,000, not the 5 that was your gross revenue.
You have to take your expenses out.
Yes.
Before you adjust it to how much you can pay and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So if it's $1,000 in stock that you sold for $5,000, you replace that $1,000 straight out of the 5, and then you do the rest of the profit first formula after that.
You got
it. Even before they would pay themselves from the profit first formula, it's I made 5, but in reality you only made 4 because it took you 1,000 to make 5. So you just wipe that out.
Well, and yes, because you can have $1 million construction company, but they're running at 50 or 60% for supplies and materials. So $1 million construction company really only had a real net revenue of 400,000. So you're going to run all your profit first your profit first allocations on the 400,000. And that could be a month or a year. It doesn't matter. You have to set aside enough money to pay your subcontractors and buy the materials for the job. And so that is a bit of a tricky part. So reread that section, watch our videos on the playlist on our YouTube channel, Matterhorn Business Development. And I think that'll help straighten it out. Now, also, I want everybody to know 2 things before I forget, because Abby will shoot us both, Neil, if we don't talk about this. Number 1, that we will do an instant profit assessment. It takes about 30 minutes or so. And you can put, oh, I see you're running the banner on the Adventure to Profit.
Yep.
So you can basically get a free instant assessment if you just email me, Greg at MatterhornBizDev.com, BIZDEV. We can set up a free instant profit assessment, which takes about 30 minutes. We don't have to have profit and loss statements and all that. We can give you a rough estimate, an idea of what the percentages should be for you. And then also in the banner that Neil's flashing down below here, we have our Adventure to Profit weekly group that we are working with, and you should go to adventuretoprofit.com and apply. So what we have is an application process, because we need to know that we can help your industry. So do that application and dive into our Adventure to Profit weekly meeting. So we can help you.
Yeah, the Adventure to Profit program is for anybody of any industry. And what we do is we start with some of our own technology that we use from your Fun at Work book to actually get your business in order. And then we start implementing profit first. And I think it's a 9-month program.
Yeah, it's a 9-month program, the Adventure to Profit.
Yeah, and we do weekly meetings every other week, live weekly meetings.
Yeah, live weekly meeting. Yep.
Yep. And then every other week, there's like a help session and strategy session for anybody who needs help. And so basically you work through as a group or as a team with each individual industry, and then any individual one-on-one help you need, you get to work with us, all that kind of stuff. So that's really good program. We've got the second Adventure to Profit application just opened, so you can apply to work with us. The first group is 1 month into their program. We've gotten a lot of great results already with the first group. So check that out. Adventure to Profit. Obviously, we want to do the profit first stuff, but also help you grow your business so that your $5,000 in sales becomes $10,000 in sales, and so on and so forth.
And I want to say that the pricing is so critical. And we have a module in the Adventure to Profit program, and you're going to get a spreadsheet to show you exactly where your prices should be. And I'm pretty much of the idea, forget about what the competition is charging. You have your cost of goods, like this one question came in. You have your cost of doing business, and you've got to price your product and your service so you actually are making a profit. And so I've got a whole spreadsheet that comes along with that. There's a whole training module on that. Also in that program, Neil and I have some great sales training videos and how to really control your income. So it's a fantastic program. We're having a blast with our clients delivering that.
Yeah. So Everything Beauty in the comments there. Send us an email. Also put in there some info about your candles, where you sell them, that kind of stuff. I'd be interested to learn more about that. Another point, profit first. I have a question for you, just because you're the profit first professional and I'm not. So I know a lot of people have been told that when you have a big business or a business or whatever, you run all of your expenses through your business and then you don't pay yourself technically a lot at the end of the year because you ran everything through the business, which always screws you when you try to get a loan or a credit card or a house. So through the profit first system, how do you approach that? I guess I should say.
Well, that's a really good question, and we are not accountants. And I guess basically you have to be most accountants feel and most clients feel that they want their accountant to save them every dollar they can on taxes. And I'm totally fine with that. And if there's any legitimate deduction, it should be taken. But what can end up happening is you're now running expenses through the business. And at the end, like let's say your car or your gym membership or whatever, you're running that through the business. Your accountant says it's legit. And then you look down at the bottom and your expenses are like 98%. So what we do in the profit first system, that's not actually an expense. Like it was a benefit that came back to you. This is not about taxes. This is about like how profitable is this business. And so we're actually finding many clients, and when we sit down and we really break down the benefit, we're now able to get a better grip on exactly what the profit margins are. And we can really start to now do an evaluation. Are the staff underproducing? Are they overpaid? Do we have somebody who like they really need some more training so they can be worth their salary? So we really do a deep dive on the expenses as part of this whole Adventure to Profit program and really start to take a look at like, what is your profit really? Because this has nothing to do with the IRS. We're setting money aside to pay them. That money is coming off the top. It's going over there. So we're not going to be spending the IRS's money in this system. And so it's a critical part of really being able to dive into the numbers, take a look, what's the benefit to the owner and what isn't. And now we can really look at the actual profitability of this business. And we have businesses that are running at 35, 40, or even 50% profit and more. So that's all part of the whole system. And then whatever your accountant does with depreciation and write-offs and all of that, that's between you and your accountant. But we really are going to give you a good, solid, honest assessment of the profitability of this business and where you're actually wasting money, losing money, could be spending your money better.
Cool. So if somebody's watching this now, they can contact us for a free instant profit assessment.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. Is it an instant profit assessment?
Yeah, it takes 20 to 30
minutes. Yep. Yeah. Obviously, we have to have some information. I can't just have you call me and then I magically know your finances. But
right, we just need to have a general idea. What was your revenue last year? What did you take home? Yeah, just general numbers.
So we can do an instant assessment on the profit. They can sign up to work with us through Adventure to Profit and get coached and implementation of the whole process.
Yep.
As well as work with us to grow their business, which are awesome. But then also there was one thing that I know you've talked about to somebody watching right now, and I might be paraphrasing this, but if you want to start, like the easiest step that any business owner can do to start making some money right now is to take 1% and set it aside. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So most everyone that we start working with has two accounts at the bank. One is a checking account and one is a savings account. So all of the deposits go into the checking account and the bills are paid and the owner gets what's left or a portion thereof or whatever. The savings account is usually at about $50, which is the minimum that the bank wants you to leave in it. So to immediately, without even reading the book, what you can do is every week, you take a look at the deposit for that week. It was $1,000. That was the deposit for the week. And you take 1% or $10 and you move it into that savings account and then don't touch it. And 1% sounds so insignificant, but if you're putting in $10 a week and you got $50 now, in 5 weeks, you're going to have 100. And that's probably more than you've had in it since you opened the account. And we see this routinely and regularly. So something that you can do immediately is just move 1% of every allocation at the end of the week. You're paying your staff. This was the deposit this week. It was $5,000. So we're moving 1% of that. We're moving $50. So 10% would be $500. 1% of that $50 of the 5,000. You just move it and you leave it there. You set it and forget it. And you're just going to watch it grow. And then the next quarter, we can bump that to 2%, and then we can bump it to 3% in the next quarter. And this is how we start to really get some momentum and some traction. But I'll tell you, Profit First is about just setting a habit and just getting into a rhythm. So at the end of the week, the money is here. You sit down on Friday, you sit down on Saturday. You can do it on your phone anymore. You open up the accounts. We have a great spreadsheet that you'll create on the Adventure to Profit, and you just type in the number. Here's all the percentages. You go to your phone, you make all the transfers, and you just move your money around, and you're ready to go again. So it's a very, very slick system, and it's really awesome. Our clients are really, really loving it.
Awesome. So is there anything else that people need to know before we end off here? If there's any other questions you guys have that are watching, please feel free to type them in. We appreciate that. It gives us more to talk about and know what it is that you want to hear more about. But anything else about Profit First? Or
well, I guess, just kind of to sum it all up, it's about financial control. And according to the Small Business Administration, I believe the number is 80% of businesses fail in 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. And the most common problem, the most common reason for businesses failing is cash flow management. Just not enough cash flow management. It's not that there's no cash. It's there's no cash flow management. And so basically, Mike Michalowicz states his purpose is to end entrepreneurial poverty, to wipe it out, because there's no reason the business owners who are working so hard, taking all the risk and really, really trying hard to service their customers, there's no reason that they shouldn't be paid. They should be paid nicely, but really it mainly comes down to just managing the money that comes in, and you'll establish a discipline and a rhythm in a very, very short period of time. And then you'll start following the pattern. On the Adventure to Profit, you're going to sit down and you're going to calculate out your own program. This month, this quarter, it's 1%. Then the second quarter, it's 2%. And then it's going to be 4%. And we're going to show you exactly how to lay it all out. And by the time we roll around into month 7, 8, and 9, the rhythm will be established. We will have worked through the early implementation issues, getting all the accounts set up. Those are the most difficult parts of everything. And you're going to be in a rhythm and a pattern. And then you blend that in with the business development process, the business scaling, business building processes that we have in the Adventure to Profit. That's where the real profit starts to come from. So you have the account set up, and now we're starting to dump in, instead of 5,000 a week, now we're dumping in 10,000 a week. And that's when we really start to just pile it on with steam shovel buckets.
Cool.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great time working with our clients on it. And, it's just different being, like I said before, I've been working with business owners for 18 years now. I started when I was 16. I'm 34 now, so I've been doing it for a long time, and it always frustrated me when people would make more money and then be as broke as they were before because they didn't know how to manage it or they wasted it or I remember being in a client's office once or in a business of theirs, and you know they were easily 4, 5, 6 times more in revenue than ever before, and they've got a $4,000 a month lease payment on their car, and they can't pay the rent. And I'm like, why do you have a $4,000 car? You're single. You live by yourself. Like, what do you need this gigantic thing for? It's 4 grand, and it's just like, and then they're always like, I don't have any more money. I'm like, well, you used to drive a 20-year-old pickup, and now you've got this $4,000 a month car. I think I know where the profit's going, like. So it's just frustrating when that would happen because we're doing everything we're supposed to do. And so this is a way of us to help people actually A, make more money, but then B, keep their money, which is a huge aspect to growing a business.
Well, and just to end off, just as a success, we have one of our clients we picked up in April, and cash was really, really tight. And in her car, the power windows didn't work. And in his car, sometimes the door didn't shut right. And literally in 4 months, they went out and got 2 new cars. So this is not about scrimping,
It's not
tightening
about
your
deprivation.
belt, eating ramen noodles for 6 months so you can put $50 in your profit account. That's not about that at all.
Right.
It's about managing it, and you'll be shocked at the areas of waste that you will uncover when you're on our program. You go, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I was wasting money here, wasting money there. So I definitely don't want you to get the idea that this is painful. This is actually a lot of fun, and you will be doing much, much better. We actually lay out a schedule on how you're going to pay down all your debt, the whole thing. So it's really just about controlling the money as it comes in, as well as making more.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you all for hanging out with us. Like I said before, I know some people just clicked onto the stream right as we're getting here to the end. Every Monday night, 7 o'clock, we're going to be doing our live streams. And if you go to adventuretoprofit.com, you can find out how to apply to work with us and get your free profit assessment, as well as apply for our Adventure to Profit program. And I just want to say quickly, it's funny, when we decided to come up with the Adventure to Profit program, we didn't know what we were going to call it, but we're fun and unique, interesting people. So we wanted it to have a cool name. But wasn't Adventure to Profit, like, we surveyed it and that's what people really liked?
Yeah. We had 5 different names, and we shot this out to our mailing list, and Adventure to Profit came back, and it really is an adventure.
Yeah.
It's like, almost a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go here, we're going to do this, we're going to go here, we're going to do that. And Abby and I make it a lot of fun, and you'll enjoy all the clients and all the successes that everybody's having. So
yeah, it's a team working together.
Yeah,
we like to have fun with what we do. As you can see, Dr. Winterig's book, Fun at Work, that's the attitude that we have when we approach everything, is having fun, making it a game. You'll notice it's called Adventure to Profit and not this long, slow death to profit. So we like to have fun with it, and we want to make it fun for you, because if you're not having fun, then don't do it. And that's how we really look at everything that we do, is how to have the most fun and enjoyment out of it. So thank you all for watching. Please leave some comments down below. Every week, we have new topics and subjects. We want to hear what you want help with. If you want to know more, go to adventuretoprofit.com, check us out. Or if you're on YouTube, go to the playlist. We have a Profit First playlist with Greg and Abby. I think we have 9, 10 videos, something like that, up on many different aspects of Profit First. Right. And check out the book. You can buy it on Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all we have for you guys tonight. We will see you next week. Have a great one.